Welcome to the Hey Big Bro Show. My name is Omar Bravo, and this is your second opinion on faith, family, friends, and finances. This is episode number 6, and the topic is, should you quit your job?
Now, this question can be asked for a whole bunch of reasons, but I kind of narrowed it down to just a couple of different reasons that I'm going to address right now. The first reason would be, should I quit my job because it's a horrible job? Second one would be, should I quit my job because I've been at the job a long time and it's time for a career change? And should I quit my job because I don't make enough money? Now, if you work at a place where you hate your job and it's a horrible place and you don't make enough money, then yeah, that's pretty easy. Quit your job. Go find a better job. That shouldn't be that big of a question, and I shouldn't have to convince you that much. Go quit your job. The second one, though, is a lot more complicated. I've been at my job a long time. It's a great job. I make lots of money, but I've been there a long time and it's kind of run its course, and I feel like I want to go do something else. And maybe I know what I want to go do, and maybe I don't know what I want to go do, but I know that I'm restless here. That's really the topic that I want to address, because this is a super difficult one. Unlike the other situations where it's a no-brainer, there's a lot of caveats into this question. Career change is a huge thing, and the different perspectives that come in and the different responsibilities that you have are big, right? You might be further along, you're probably further along in your life. You've probably put some time in at this company, and so you don't want to lose that seniority. You've got responsibilities, maybe a wife, maybe kids that you are supporting. Maybe at this point, maybe you're supporting parents, and so quitting your job and going back to school and changing careers could be a really, really, really big deal. And I understand that. And at the same time, I also understand that oftentimes jobs don't change and people do change. The job function may very well stay the same, and an industry may stay the same depending on what industry you're in. Whereas people grow and people shift and people morph and people change. And so what used to be an awesome job doesn't feel like an awesome job anymore, but you have a hard time of convincing yourself that it's time to make that move. Well, I guess the best advice I can give is share what experience I went through. I had a wonderful corporate job, making a ton of money, living a very blessed and fruitful lifestyle. And I got to the point where I had to ask myself, is being a semiconductor sales executive what I want written on my gravestone? Is it what I want to do for the rest of my life, or is there something I'm more passionate about? And so when I looked at it, I looked at all the positives of the job, and there were tons of them. There were the finances. It was my dream job when I had got that job. It was something that I had strived for. It was something that I worked for. And after, 6 or 7 years, I got to a point that I didn't want to be there anymore, but I couldn't justify to myself, and most importantly at the time, I couldn't justify it to others. I couldn't justify it to my parents. I remember telling my parents that, hey, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do next. And they were super pissed. They were mad because they said that they had worked so hard to put me through school, and I was throwing everything away after achieving what they deemed success. And so I had to take a step back and really evaluate, what am I looking at here? If I switch careers, and I didn't know what career I was going to switch to, if I switch careers, what are the downsides of it? And when it came down to it, my stance ended up being that I made it here once. I went through school, I went through the training, I went through the interviews, I got the job, I excelled in the position. If I made it here once from way further back than I am now, I'm pretty sure if I leave, if I wanted to, I could make it back again. Maybe not at the same company, but in the same industry. I could do it again if I had to. But the whole reason that I was leaving was because I didn't want to be there anymore. So the chances of that happening, buyer's remorse, I suppose, could exist, but I was trying to get out. And so I said, yeah, that shouldn't be a stepping stone or a roadblock for me. I need to go ahead and check that one off the list, and because I know that I can make it back. So what are some of the other pieces? Well, the finances. If I quit this job, I'm going to have to go back to school, and that could be an issue. Or I'm going to have to give up my salary and maybe start over or start at a lower salary for a while in a new industry that I would be entry level in. And that is super scary. And at the same time, staying in a place where you're not fulfilled and you're not happy and you're not being fruitful is, even to me, even more scary. I'm at a point in my life where I've done a lot of different jobs, and I've started over and I've quit and I've made it back, and I made a lot of money and I made a little money and I make a lot of money, and things are cyclical. And so after quitting the first time, quitting is no longer scary to me anymore. To the extent that my wife and I have a rule, I am not allowed to work at a job that I don't absolutely positively love. I can't just like my job, I have to love my job. And the reason we have that rule is because I've worked at jobs where I wasn't happy and I wasn't fulfilled and I wasn't contributing to the greater good of society. And when I got home every day from work, I was drained, I wasn't passionate, and my family felt the effects of that. They didn't get as much attention, they didn't get the energy, they didn't get the motivation, they didn't get all that I had to give when I was fulfilled and overflowing from the fulfillment that I achieved at work. And so my wife made a rule. She's like, you are not allowed to not like your job. Either you love that job that you work at, or you quit and you go get a new job, and we suffer the consequences of making that transition. But we can't just sit here stagnant and suffer when you're not in a great position at work. And I'm coming from a very blessed perspective. I know I'm not in any way, shape, or form oblivious that, well, not everybody can just quit their job. You're right, not everybody can just quit their job, but we're not talking about just everybody. We're talking about you. Can you quit your job? I'm not saying will it be easy or will the transition be smooth, but literally, can you quit your job? Can you float yourself for a couple months and float your family for a couple months? And maybe if you have to, can you take on some debt in order to make that transition? If it's at all possible, then I encourage you to evaluate it. I'm not saying it's a no-brainer. For me, it's a no-brainer, but I understand that everybody's situations in life are different. That said, it's possible. I've seen so many people do it, and candidly, when somebody comes up to me and says, hey, should I quit my job? My answer immediately is yes. And the reason it's yes is because the fact that you're even thinking about it tells me that there's so much more that you see in the future that is potential that you want to go after it. And my absolute stance is absolutely go after the potential. Jobs tend to stay the same and people grow, and when those jobs don't grow with you, it doesn't make sense to stay at the same place. I know that in the past we might have come from a generation who stayed at the same company for 30 years and retired and they got a pension, and that's not where we're at anymore. That's not the place we live at anymore. I think the statistic is something that people have, 7 different jobs, 7 different major jobs or careers in their life now. And so you can switch and you can move and you can grow and you can morph. And I don't want you to think that whatever skills that you currently have are going to be a throwaway if you move to another industry. The skills you have are applicable in so many different routes. And though you might be in engineering now, that doesn't mean you can't go into sales. That doesn't mean that if you're in business now, you can't go into art or design or whatever it may be. If you're in manufacturing, you could absolutely pivot to another place. Will it take work? Yes, absolutely. But life's a journey, and that adventure of the change and the unknown is kind of why we got to get up in the morning. It's what lights us on fire. The biggest thing holding most people back when they're afraid of that job change is just leaving their comfort zone. Yes, you're comfortable. Yes, it's a known place, and leaving and going to a new job is an unknown. But that should be exciting because change is going to happen. And just because you decide, if you decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to stay here forever, that doesn't mean they're going to keep you forever. Companies make decisions based on P&Ls, and as soon as it doesn't make financial sense for the shareholders to have you in that position anymore, they're going to let you go, and you're going to be in this situation regardless. So you've got a big decision to make, and I'm here to support you. What is the best decision for you? I don't know, but I encourage you to just know that lots and lots of people quit all the time and shift and change and morph and end up far better than they ever were before, and you can do it too if you so choose. That said, I want to thank you for watching, and I want to thank you for letting me be your second opinion. Be sure to like the page, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, share this post, write a review, and most importantly, if you have any topics you'd like me to tackle, hit me up on social media or send me an email, and I'd love to give it a shot on one of the future episodes of the Hey Big Bro Show. Until next time, Godspeed.